Assalamualaikum and very good day. My name is Hamyzan bin Adnan, currently doing internship at Career Malaysia. So for this presentation, I will be discussing the maintenance project documentation, which is related to my case study. Okay, first of all, we will go to the schedule maintenance, and this presentation of the maintenance is highly emphasized on the one of the chiller model produced by Carrier, which is 19EX. So for Carrier's chiller, the service team will conduct weekly maintenance, monthly maintenance, and also annual maintenance. And all this maintenance falls under the category of scheduled maintenance. So what is the purpose of scheduled maintenance? It is to ensure the reliability of the chiller by addressing any small issues before it could lead into any major breakdown. So by constantly doing maintenance and doing inspection, we can ensure that the chiller will be able to operate for a longer time with the minimal risk of breakdown. So for my case study, I have decided to focus on the scheduled maintenance for changing oil filter. And for oil filter, based on the operation and manual that I have studied, the maintenance for oil filter shall be done on an annual basis. So in the diagram you can see the oil filter and also the what we call that parts of the oil filter and also the instruction pointed at the certain location. So this instruction is to it act as a guide for the technician to perform maintenance work. Okay, in this slide we can see the oil filter change procedure. So this procedure is taken from the operation and manual of the chiller that I have obtained from the database provided by Carrier. And for more detailed procedure of this maintenance work, you can refer to my previous case study. So for now, I just go through the procedure. The first step is to make sure that the compressor is off and then disconnect for the compressor is open. Second step is to disconnect the power to the oil pump and then close the oil filter isolation valve. So isolation valve, you can refer to the figure that I have displayed earlier. Label item 3, item 1 and item 2. And next step is to loosen the filter holding clamp and then rotate the filter counterclockwise to remove filter housing. Next is to drain the oil, and then the oil is to be used to obtain an oil analysis. Remove and replace the filter cartridges. Also, do not use any extra washers supplied with the filter. Next step is to bench assemble items A to D upside down. Then slide the filter housing labeled as item 5 in the figure over the stack to ensure that the spring labeled as item D is centered in the bottom of the housing as indicated. And then screw the assembly into the locking ring. Next step is to evacuate the filter piping assembly, and lastly, open the isolation valve. So next is also the procedure, but for a different type of compressor, which is FA style compressor. So the service team or service maintenance is required to follow the guideline as provided in the operation and manual to ensure that the maintenance work can be successfully done. So if the maintenance work is conducted by following this guideline, there should be no problem or no issue that will affect the maintenance work of the chiller. And then for this slide, this is the maintenance interval requirement. So for weekly maintenance, it will be focusing on certain part. The same applies to annual maintenance, which will be the focus of the maintenance work will be towards the compressor, evaporator, and condenser. Also, it involves the cleaning of the coil. So what I can say that this is basically the guideline or the timeline for which we must conduct the scheduled maintenance, and also which part is to be conducted maintenance at a certain timeline. And for the next slide is the maintenance checklist. So the maintenance checklist is also I have obtained it from the operation and manual. So due to the limitation of access, since I am from different department, and this is the only checklist that I can display in the presentation. So we can call this as a sample checklist that is being used by the service technician when conducting any maintenance. So by having this checklist, it will ensure that the maintenance work is conducted properly and according to the guideline provided by carrier. Then this is also the maintenance checklist, which is the next page of the checklist that I have mentioned earlier. So in conclusion, for maintenance work, it should be conducted properly, and by properly I mean by following the guideline and following the checklist that has been prepared by the PIC for the maintenance project. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.